Hello, welcome to the show. I'm Jacquelene Closemore, and we're on A1R Psychic Radio and Moonstruck TV. I've got my favourite painting. Oh, look, which way are we going? Oh, there she is. You can't see that because it's really difficult with cameras and stuff when things are moving like your host. But anyway, I'm joined today by the wonderful Kerry Welsh, and she's from Soul Me, which you can find on Instagram and Facebook. And you're a mama, you're an author, you're doing lots of different things, including you're also studying social work bachelor's. And we're going to talk about today, we're going to take a call, but we're also going to talk a bit today, both here and also back on the Jacquelene Closemore live page on Facebook, about narcissists. So how do you tell an asshat? I've gotten the okay to say that word because I was going to say something else. How can you tell an asshat from a narcissist? That's sort of like a key question, because I was on a chat group, I don't know, a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and this woman was going, oh no, it just sounds like they're a real, and I'm like, no, I'm actually just seeing traits of narcissism. So, you know, what would you sort of consider to be really key traits of narcissism, first off?
Look, that one of the things, and I came up with a few words just this morning just to try and, because obviously it's a very in-depth type disorder. One of the things that stands out is that it's very intentional, their behaviour.
Yes.
It's intentional and well thought out. It's very manipulative behaviour and coercive, and these people are not, they're not stupid by any means, and they're usually pretty intelligent, and they use it's, like I said, it's intentional, and it's a difference between someone just being, like I said, just being an ass, or someone that is doing things intentionally to cause harm.
I would agree, and certainly being working in, as I do, with the psychic, the medium, and also being an empath and literally feeling way too many feelings. The key sort of thing I noticed is empaths will generally, unless they've learnt to train themselves very carefully, if you say something to them and say, and that's your fault, they'll go, oh, it's like king head to the solar plexus, boom, oh, that must be. And then it's like, could take 30 seconds, could take 2 minutes, could take 2 years. And they're like, hang on a minute, that's not right. Whereas a narcissist, you say something to them that's actually real, that is actually their responsibility, and they lose it. They can't take that criticism, that constructive criticism, that truth telling. Is that the sort of stuff you find, particularly in your work and study within social work now?
Yeah, absolutely. And the interview with and Jonathan Swan, and that shows a very clear indication of the type of things that they do. So you can put facts and evidence right in their face. And on a personal level, I've done that too. You know, you can put all facts and you can basically show them something and say, this is how you behave or whatnot. And I find any excuse possible. And, you know, they use things like food salad and all that sort of thing to deflect from the situation. And they won't take any blame off. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And also, it's like I've actually watched this in certain politicians, and I'm not even going to name who or which party because then it becomes partisan. What I find is that I've seen a politician on TV and standing there and saying a complete untruth that you know, factually, they know is not true, and they're saying it and they're smiling. I would believe da-da-da-da-da, and you're like, you know, you're watching the aura of them and you're going, wow, if I wasn't even listening to your words, I'm looking at you lie right now. I'm looking at the colours around you and I'm going, nice try, buddy, but that's not floating my boat. And do you find that yourself that you can pick that, whereas a lot of other people don't seem to pick that? They seem to get gaslit by it.
Yeah, unfortunately, and a lot of the people that get gaslit by it are the people closest to the narcissist.
Yep.
You know, people like family and close friends who just, same thing. You can put all the evidence in front of them. It can be completely and utterly, you know, you can have a whole case against, you know, the behaviour that's very obvious, that they see what they want to see because they're being manipulated as well by the narcissist.
Yeah, cool. Now, we've actually got our caller. She's ready to go. It's actually Katrina in the USA. Are you there, Katrina? You're in Cincinnati. Is that you, Katrina? Can you hear us?
Huh?
Hi, and welcome to the show. Thanks so much for writing in and asking for a reading on air. Now, you've written in and you wanted to know why your family's jealous of you, and I actually think that's quite a realistic statement. That's what I was getting from your email. And some people would say, oh, they're jealous of me. It's like, hang on a minute, that's not quite right. But with you, it actually felt very real. We've also got Christy Welsh on the line as well, and she's also done a lot of work with psychic stuff and also within social work. So thanks for joining us. Were you happy for us to go ahead and have a look at that for you?
Okay.
Sure. So with that, I was kind of feeling with your energy that there's an energy of you trying to understand the world. Like you've come into this lifetime to really understand the world. You've got a lot of caring, and also in this lifetime as well, there's a need to be able to learn when to put yourself first, which is kind of interesting considering our topic. And often people who are dealing with narcissistic people find that the narcissist is putting themselves first. And people we sort of call asshats or inconsiderate people can also be doing that too. But there's some distinct differences between someone who's simply doing things that aren't quite nice and being a bit of a jerk about it, and someone who's actually being much more of the traits we're talking about. Is that the sort of thing you can relate to happening for you?
You know what? I can't hardly make out what you're saying. Like you're breaking up.
Good. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll go onto Facebook Live and do that for you a bit later, and I'll speak to you off air. We might go back to talking about narcissists and also going across to Facebook Live with you there, Christy. We'll cover that for you, though, Katrina, later on. We've got some phone trouble on your end happening there, but we'll catch up with you a bit later, I promise, today. So, Christy, let's get back into that. And what were you picking up for Katrina, firstly, before we sort of head on to that topic?
Okay, it seems that, I've experienced things like that too, but the thing is that, and not necessarily related to narcissism, but, and it may well could be, I guess, depending on his situation and who his family members are and what she's talking about. But as an empath, I know that, we're obviously called to do a lot of healing work and a lot of, we just help others and do things like that. And so I've experienced, family members and jealousy and things like that as well. So it may not necessarily be related to narcissism.
Yep.
Depending on when we chat to her.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm sure you've experienced it as well, like when you're having a voice and you're speaking up for other people and standing up for other people who don't have a voice, and doing things that aren't necessarily popular when it comes to family and friends. It can convert into jealousy because I guess perhaps there's a sense of, well, I don't feel strong enough to be able to do what you're doing, or I don't feel strong enough within myself to be able to take that next step or challenge the status quo or, do all those sorts of things. And so that can convert to jealousy.
Most definitely. And I would say in her case, I'm actually picking up about two of them actually around her, but I think the other people are simply going along. So it's you can't really make a diagnosis ever off air, or on air, sorry. That's not really appropriate. And that's, I think, what you're leading to as well. But it's really important for very sensitive people to protect their own energy, to say no to things. And because we're naturally givers, you really have to be able to put in a block and a step there so that takers will always take. We have to put in blocks so that we're not just always giving. Otherwise, we can lose our energy. We can feel a bit lost in life. And certainly with Katrina, I feel like this year she's getting her life straightened out as to what she's wanting to do for her. And part of that is being able to say no to people, specifically who might be draining, and having to kind of get that stuff sorted out first before she really gets onto the other stuff. So she can be kind of having to reset her goals as well, I feel, and a lot of change around how she deals, particularly with a male in her life, is what I'm picking up as well. And certainly I can cover that with her later off air. It does feel as if I'd be seeing her being able to take some kind of leadership. I don't know if that's in her community or in her work soon, but it feels like a leadership kind of situational change there going on. And I'd see that as being quite positive. But I do feel like there's two narcs around her. I think that's why I brought up this subject of narcissism.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because as I was looking at narcissism last week, it's like, boom, there she was in the inbox. And it's like, hello. So I always sort of trust that. It's not always necessarily the case that every single person who contacts you is having the same experience as what synchronistically is going on for you at the time at all, or that what you're looking in. But sometimes that can really literally be the situation. So yeah, that's why I was sort of picking up on it. So that's what we're going to cover on Facebook Live, Jacquelene Closemore Live shortly. And that will be not just live, it will stay up as a post for if you've missed this live broadcast of A1R Psychic Radio Moonstruck TV. You can then head over and have a look at that as well anyway at any point. You just look at the date that today is and look for that Facebook page for when that's on. So how have you found the journey so far, moving from the psychic stuff, the publishing, into the into more the social work and that very grounded sort of level of, that angle?
Well, it's funny because I've actually been thinking about this recently. It's like some people might look at it and say, okay, it's the complete opposite. So I've gone from, doing psychic readings and healings and the publishing and self-care and all that sort of thing, and very much involved in spiritual. But now it's like delving into more human, grounded, like you said, the grounded side, the real world, real life, this kind of thing. So being able to put the two together is fascinating, actually, because
that's perfect, and we'll go into that a lot more when we move across to Facebook Live. But I think that's a really good point to sort of bring into it. We sort of look at the psychic and the psychological as being two different things, and they're really not. So you can join us on Facebook Live, Jacquelene Closemore Live, and find us there. You'll find Christy Welsh from Soul Me, and you'll also find me over there too. We're going to catch up with you there. In the meantime, there's a lot more shows on A1R Psychic Radio and Moonstruck TV for the rest of this afternoon, morning or evening, wherever you are. And we'll catch you next week. Lots of love.